What's going on, Soul Tribe? And welcome to Alchemist Astrology. Justin here, and bring you another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Venus in Virgo in the 10th house. Now, when we talk about that lovely Venus, Venus is one of the benefics, so it's one of the more positive planets, especially if you have a night chart. You want to know what Venus is doing because we love Venus in the night chart. So that's something to tune into. But Venus represents the things that we love, that we desire. It's a very nurturing aspect, the things that we're devoted to, that creative side of us, that bring the Venus brings the people together that share in those views, the ones that we laugh with, the ones that we connect with, and we go through life with. And it's the giving of gifts, and it's the just the pleasant things when we're thinking about with Venus. There's a spiritual side with Venus, again, that act of devotion to the things, and there's a passion with Venus, that we really feel there. So it's great when we're working with that planet. Now, that was considered the lesser benefic, just because it's smaller than Jupiter, but it's still Venus still packs delivers some great things. So then we get into Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and they're the mutable Earth sign and one of the nocturnal signs, so receptive in nature. And when you think about Virgo, there is this strong analytical component with Virgo. They can figure out just a problem. And I think that leads to there's this mastery that I think with Virgo, a refinement that comes with it. That when they put their minds to something and do the things, they figure these things out. They excel at them. There's something. It's incredible to watch. I think Virgo go into action, and I think that's where it gets a lot of that critical nature, because there is a demand for that precision, to achieve that excellence, there is like that sort of natural talent, I think, that comes with that Virgo, and being just sort of that, having that mercurial influence there. So just some things to think about with Virgo. And then when we talk about the 10th house, this is one of the angular houses. So this is a very prominent house in the chart there. This is a point too where you're going to want to see if you have the mid MC there, because that's going to be one of the sensitive points in the chart. This is going to be one of the houses that the MC can fall in. So tune into that. But the some of the themes that the 10th house of the midheaven deals with can deal with like your occupation, your rank, the things that you want to accomplish, what you consider a successful life for you. All the actions that you do represents the things that your public life, the things that really it's the top of your chart, in a sense. So it's like this is the thing that everyone sees of you. The stuff that you do with your time. So this could be the place where you find innovations in your craft and the things that you do, where you see changes, where we're all change over time. So it's the things that all the changes that we allow people to see. So yeah, these are going to be some of the themes that the 10th house deals with. Now, when you're working with this placement, a few things to consider. You would have a Sag rising by whole sign, and you're going to want to look to Mercury, because Mercury is going to be responsible for this house in your seventh house, which deals with like other relationships, like kind of one-on-one relationships, marriage, business partners, all those, again, kind of prominent relationships there. Travel is a thing that comes up with the seventh house too. And then Venus is going to be responsible for your 11th house, which deals with like friends, alliances, groups, your hopes, and things along those lines, gifts, the kind of benefits from patrons and things like that. And then it's going to also be responsible for the sixth house, which can deal with like your work, as far as like your job that you happen to do for a living. It can deal with it's the house of enemies, like people we don't get along with. Can deal with like health and injuries. So it's about kind of that health, that sort of like that health routine. Pets is another thing that can come up with the sixth house as well. That's another thing that can pop up there. But another thing to note with this one, you want to see, well, a couple things, a couple more things. This is one where Venus does find itself in its fall, and a fall when the planets are in their fall. That's when they're. It's when the. It's different from when Venus is exalted and Pisces is raised up. In the fall, they're brought down in a sense. It's harder for those Venus. It has to work a bit harder for Venus to have those significators to come to for that positive to really kind of come through there. Just so that's just something to think about, but also too, if Venus is conjunct, you want to see if it's conjunct. I work with whole sign houses, so you want to see if Venus is conjunct the midheaven or the MC, which is going to be within that same sign, or if it's squared the ascendant, because then that is going to bring that Venus to further prominence in your chart, especially when Venus is activated as a time lord for you. Those Venus periods are going to be something to tune into if you have that. Now, some ways that I could see this coming up is that I could see this could be something where just quite literally you're maybe there's a Venusian touch to the things that you do. Maybe it's something creative. Maybe you happen to be like an artist, or maybe you happen to do something with fashion, something with art, something maybe you happen to be in a mercurial sign. Maybe you happen to write books, or write some sort of fantasies or some sort of stories or some kind of some things. That could be one way that this could potentially show up. This could be even where you may find maybe different benefits and things, let's say through your job, for example, bringing in those sixth house themes. Maybe there's benefits from different females, considering that Venus represents women. So maybe there could be some support that comes into that long, as far as like maybe even helping you trying to rise the ranks. Maybe you could find some sort of, maybe there's assistance from a female figure. It could be from anybody, any relationships that you form, but particularly again, just because we're talking about Venus, there could be that stronger sort of like feminine influence that happens to come in there. So that may be something to pay attention to. Even pay attention to, like, thinking about the 11th house, dealing with your friends, how your friends support your hopes and dreams. What does that look like? Not necessarily that they have to bring in any sort of support, but is there that raising up, or is there maybe with Venus and Virgo, maybe there's this overcritical of oneself, never quite being able to live up to some an expectation or something along those lines, and then those sort of sixth house themes kind of get mixed in there. But maybe do something where you work with a group of people possibly there. This could be thinking about that health aspect of it. Maybe that could be easily doing something with just like maybe you happen to work in like a hospital, or maybe do something with like physical therapy, or maybe something with Venus. I imagine even like something with like food. Maybe you happen to do like cooking or anything of those things along those lines. That could be just some examples that could show up there, or maybe kind of managing some sort of group, some sort of thing. You bringing people together. And it doesn't even necessarily have to just be for work, or for your job or anything like that. This may be just something you just happen to do. Maybe happen to be a leader. In your group, that could be something. They're benefic leader. People see you, just think just Venus. How lovely. So that would be something that I would do, and that is something that I do like to invite. I think it can be easy to think about the hard aspects and the harder parts of the chart, but to see where the benefics come through too, especially again if you have a night chart, to see if that's an area where you've noticed a bit more support into. And of course that's gonna be nuanced with what's the condition of Mercury, where Venus is, what's the condition of Venus. So of course there's going to be again some things, to some mitigators and other things that could change that story. But how has that theme, for the most part, those themes would be going to be one of the most positive. So exploring that and seeing where how one can maybe exploit that good pocket a bit more and work with that a bit more. So that'd be something I would give a kind of talk to with someone with this placement. I'm trying to think what else I would say with this one. And this could even be, again, maybe you happen to be someone who brings people in connections with one another. You could bring some, maybe it happens to do something with pets. Maybe you happen to work with animals and things like that. That could be something that potentially comes through with that sixth house. Yeah, but those would be just some very kind of general things, again, because I like that. I feel like Venus there, especially one stays devoted to, and with Virgo, staying devoted to one's task, I think that could really bring a lot of positive things to one's career, one's success, things like that. But you definitely need the whole chart to get an idea of how this is showing up for you. But if you have this placement or know someone who's working with this placement, down in the comment section, let us know how this is showing up for you. I think it's always neat to explore and to trade those different notes and things to see what that's been like. But yeah, comment. And then if you want to work with these placements more personally, down in the description box there's a link to book a consultation with me, so definitely check that out. If you have any questions about the services that I provide, my email's down there as well, so you can always reach out to me. I have a couple playlists for the Lunar Shenanigans, which is a weekly show talking about the transits of the moon with the other celestial bodies, and one that is the Celestial News Monthly, which talks about it from the sun and the other classical planets and what they're doing, any eclipses, retrogrades, ingresses, things along those lines, aspects. So that's that. And then, yeah, there are other videos. If you have any requests and see videos that I haven't done, I'm getting back into doing more of these. So, yeah, if you have any requests or anything, definitely leave in the comment section and I will get to them. I have a queue and I'll let you know when I get to them. But that's all I got for you. So until next time, stay mindful out there, keep raising that vibration through the roof, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.